This is Laure Jérémy, and today we have Einav Avni to talk about the different tips when you change careers and something probably you wish you knew before doing so. Welcome, Einav. Thanks you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
So we met a few months ago at an amazing conference over 3 days. And after that, so we spent some time together talking about both our experience in terms of changing jobs and careers. And a few days ago, so because I'm working on this project, and I thought that you would be perfect to share with all of us your knowledge, your experience in terms of changing jobs and tips that you can maybe share with all of us and someone who today is currently changing jobs or thinking of changing. So I'm sure this will be really valuable for all of us. Thank you.
Perfect. I'll be very happy to share with you a little bit of my knowledge and experience. Maybe I'll start by giving a little bit of a background to where I'm coming from.
Yeah, of course, you'll be great.
Excellent. So I have an IT background. I had a very successful career as a user experience designer. That means like helping to make websites friendly and easy to use. And because it had a user element, people element, I really enjoyed that. And slowly, as I was in my career, I realized that I was more interested in the people aspect of stuff, and the IT environment more and more felt like it wasn't my environment that I wanted to pursue. And so one day I decided that I want to move on, and I decided that coaching sounded like a nice idea. I didn't know enough about what coaching was, but I knew that it was more people-centered. And so I did some research, and then I decided to go on a coaching course and become a coach. At that time, I didn't know what coaching was, and I didn't know anything about the industry. In my mind, I thought that if I was a coach, if I was a good enough coach, that was everything that I needed. I didn't realize that being a good coach was only half the battle, and I would also need to become an entrepreneur and have my own business and bring myself to the crowds. So what I've done is basically arrange some finance for myself, for all of my savings. I said, right, that would see me through in the year of studies and also a little bit after, and basically quit my job. I was a freelancer, so it was easier. Quit my job, went on my course, and that was it. So basically, cold turkey. I just quit my job. And then as I was learning to become a coach, I was also I started to understand what else was required of me as a coach. And now, fast forward a year and a bit since I finished my course. There's quite a lot of things that I really wish I knew before. Maybe the number one thing I wished I knew was really that being a good coach is not enough, because I can be the best coach in the world, but if I don't have clients and if I don't have my brand and people don't know about me, then it's nothing. Mm-hmm. So that was that. I think that could have been a helpful insight if I knew that before. So now that I am a coach, and some more things that would have been helpful is also to understand. Let me see if I can reframe what I just said and say, maybe my 5 top tips for, once you start your own business, once you decide to move away from your old job and start your own business. So my 5 top tips. There might be 6 because I haven't counted them, but let's see.
A bonus one.
Yeah, let's
see. Keep one as a bonus.
So in no particular order, but tip number one is to understand that it takes time to establish yourself. And people say it takes about 3 years from when you get started to when you find yourself that you no longer have to chase your clients, and things just start to happen nearly by themselves. So this time period of 3 years is just, obviously it's a finger in the air. It's not guaranteed, but in the 3 years you definitely have to do stuff to make it happen. So, but it is helpful. It definitely helped me when I heard about this 3 years figure to say, okay, so I'm only a year and a bit into my journey. I'm doing all right. So it was really helpful to understand that it's not going to be an overnight success, overnight change.
Because I really think that most of the challenge or frustration when we are in this situation is all about fast and speed. And we all believe that maybe it's the way that we live and our society that everything happens really, really fast. And if it doesn't happen fast, then we are not. We think that we are not successful, and we see this as a failure. Which we just also need to work on our mindset and just think again. For all of us, in our first job, it took us years to get to, not just to this first job, but after we need to build this career. And most of the time we studied, we did business school, we went to uni, we done some internship, and after we did the first job and another one and another one, and after is when we really start to get successful and build this career and get promoted and whatever. But so funny how easy we forgot that we've been through all of that, all of these years, all of these challenges. And when we change career, we think that, 3 months, okay, I'm going to get a degree, or I'm clear about this, and in 3 months' time, I will have my client, I will start earning money, I will be the king of the world. And this is not just the reality. And the thing is, it doesn't end, because online, often we see these people advertising, promoting this fast, easy way of starting as an entrepreneur. And I think it's great. And in some maybe industry, for some people, this can be the case. But I do believe that most of the time, this can be the case if you, before you really start this journey, you were to a certain extent already in this. For me, it's totally different. For you, it's totally different. If maybe it was someone that was, I don't know, already as more or less an entrepreneur, start building different type of businesses, he has this understanding about, I don't know, maybe building a website, doing his own marketing, being multitasking, which is totally different than the definition we have in a corporate environment. Is having different art about, you need to understand and be good at your job. So in your case, as a coach, but you need to run your company, you need to promote yourself, and you didn't have all of these skills. You need to build up all of these skills along the way, or you have enough finances to maybe pay someone. But even if you pay someone, sometimes if you don't have any understanding about marketing, you might spend a lot of money for nothing. You might not get the result you were looking for. So I think is, for me, one of the key elements. And what you said, sorry, I just wanted to add this as well, is about having the right mindset at the beginning, and not it's good to have expectation, but having too high expectation in a really short time period create frustration. And most of the time is where you see most people quitting. And even myself, so many times, not every day, but often, I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you not just coming back to your old job? It would be so much easier. Money was great. What are you doing? But I'm like, no, you need to carry on. You need to carry on. And every day is a success, because what I'm doing today is, I wasn't doing this yesterday. And every day, it's a journey, it's a step by step. And you need every day to remind this to yourself and being thankful for everything you are doing every day. So yeah, you're totally right about that. Totally.
And maybe I can build on what you just said, and that can be our tip number 2. It's really that when you start, it is just take a moment to sit down and think about what it is that you're trying to achieve or hoping to achieve, and say, okay, you can build a plan, to the short, medium, and long term. Where do I see myself in the next 5 months, next year, in 3 years, in 5 years? And then it's as you said, because when you go to a job in an IT or corporate or whatever, you have different people to do different jobs. And as you say, as an entrepreneur, you are all of a sudden expected to be an expert in all of these jobs, like a content, a copywriter, marketing, web design, all of these things. It's only you there. So when you make that list of where you want to be, it's not only to do with your skills and experience, it's also about this extra jobs. So, how am I planning to market myself? What can I do? What can I do by myself? What can I do with other people?
Mm-hmm.
And when you put all of this down on paper, then it helps you to focus, to really understand what it is that you can just do already, and also how far you still have to go. And I say that because this can also lead us to tip number 3, that it's now about understanding that you have a journey that you have to go through. If it was all overnight success, it means that you will get, you will be successful tomorrow, but you haven't had a chance to really experience the journey. So all of the hardship, all of the frustrations, the hopes, the trying new things and putting yourself out there, moving out of your comfort zone, you don't have a chance to do that if you had an overnight success. And when we put our mindset into that, when we are shifting our mind into that mindset that says actually every failure that we go through at the moment is helping us on our journey. Because these failures, and I put it in inverted commas, because there is no failure, there is only feedback. So when we put ourselves out there, when we try something new, something that we've never done before, we get feedback, and then we know, okay, we can do it again, or we really shouldn't do it again. But the good thing is that these instances of feedback enticed instances, they happen at the beginning. So maybe at the beginning of the journey, so maybe we're not losing reputation, money, time, all of that. So it's really good to have these instances because we can build on them and it moves us forward. I know that when I just started, as I said, I pretty much expected that I'll get my certificate and then I will be a really good coach. Well, I am a good coach, but I expected that I will have a really good business, and that didn't happen. I for a very long time, I was going around saying to myself and to anyone who wanted to hear that I was feeling really invisible because I tried so many things and nothing really seemed to work. And it was frustrating. So there's a question of, no one sees me. I'm a good coach, but I don't have clients. I don't have clients means I don't have money. Yet I can't, when I do my marketing, I can't say, please come and be my coach because, I'm really good, but I have no money and I really need a client. That's really not the you can't really say that. So all of a sudden it's new challenges that I had to overcome. And this is when I found my creativity, when I realized that, hang on, if I feel that if I'm struggling with sourcing clients, if you like, going out there and talking to clients directly, maybe I can write articles, maybe I can have an ebook, maybe I can start making comments and making my name on Twitter or Facebook groups or stuff like that. So all of a sudden, all of these things that I didn't learn in coaching school, I was doing by myself. And now, a year and a bit, after, since I started, I can look back and be really impressed because I really put myself out there and I really stepped out of my comfort zone and I really created these opportunities that I can learn from. So tip number 3 is really to allow yourself to learn how to walk before you learn how to run.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, so I was thinking about a few stuff when you were talking. At least 2, I think was a third one, but maybe it might come back. But the first one, I think, was about perfection. And when you're a perfectionist like me, you will be struggling. You are struggling because you will spend so much time doing something, and you will always look to create something that for you is perfect. The first thing is, first of all, it will never be perfect, and even more if it's the first time, because you are learning. And always, when all of my work, when I was working in my corporate job, when I was doing something, when I was sending this to client or whatever, at that time I was always happy with my work. That's why I was sending this to my client. But looking this back, few days, few weeks, few months after, few years after, I was like, oh my God, this was awful. But at that time, I'm glad that at least I was happy with myself. So I sent the work to the client. And sometimes I remind this to me, that is, you will do something perfect based on your knowledge at the time. So even with the knowledge, whatever you're trying to do, an ebook or whatever, you can of course try to prepare, you can of course try to improve it, but it will be to the limit to your knowledge. So don't get too frustrated about not feeling like it's perfect, because it will never be perfect. And everything you create will always be an improvement, because you are going to get more knowledge and experience. So this, I think, something that we all need to remember. And the other one also, when you were talking about, I can't remember what exactly you were saying, but what I remember was like, oh yeah, when you were saying, oh, I had my degree, and after this degree, I'm a good coach, and I can go out there and be successful. And it's so funny, because when you said that, it just reminded me that I've done so many studies. French, and in France you do a lot of studies, a lot of business school. I have different degrees, and I was like, and also in business school, you spend a lot of money, and they're telling you, because they need to get you there and to pay the business school. So they have a selling point. And the selling point was like, at the end of the business school, you are going to get amazing job, big salary. This is not true. This is totally BS, like massive one. So the thing is, I was like, okay, you are in business, you need to have a good English. So I was like, let's go to England. I went to London, and I thought, I'm going to spend 6 months, improve my English, straight away I'm going to get a job in marketing. It took me 5 months to get a job, because the thing is, in business school, so at least at my time, so I don't know if it changed, hopefully it changed, but we didn't know how to search for a job. And the thing is, I didn't have any clue whatsoever how to, as you said, put myself out there and, get visible to all of this company that, hey, I have so much knowledge, I'm so motivated, hire me. And I didn't know how to do that. I had to be a waitress for sometimes, do really little jobs after all of my degrees, all of this knowledge, just to pay my rent. And it took me almost 6 months to get this first job, and after this first job, another job, and another job, and of course the salary pay get better, but it took years for me to get at least to the level, almost to the level that my business school was telling me, you are going to get this figure at the end of this business school. No. So every time when we are starting from in brackets scratch, which is not exactly from scratch, because you have all of this knowledge, but starting a new chapter, of course it will again take some time. So it's always what we need to remind ourselves.
And this is going to lead me to my next tip, but first of all, I'll just respond to that, is that when we start thinking about the future and what's going to be there, it's very easy for us to be anxious and worry about what will happen. And then, of course, create stress around that. But we have to bring ourselves back to now. What do I know now? Because when you always know how to solve the problems that are in front of you at the moment. because you have all of the knowledge, all of the understanding, you have the bigger picture, and you know everything and everyone that is part of this problem or this challenge. So sooner or later, you will find the solution. But you still don't have the knowledge and the experience and the tools for the future to solve it then. So this is when you need to employ some patience and know that it's about what is happening now. You can only control what you have now. You can't control the future. But I wanted to go into tip number 4, and really, so this is not so much if you're trying to find a job with a company. It's more about when you're doing your own thing, and when you try and when you want to put yourself out there, to start creating your name, your brand, your presence. And this is to not comparing yourself to others. And the reason why this is a really good tip or really good idea is because it's very easy to forget that, you know, that other people and whatever it is that they're doing, they're on a different chapter in their book and on their journey. So we have to remind ourselves, you know, that what I'm going through is not what you're going through and not what they're going through, even if it appears that we started from the same starting point. And when we compare ourselves to others, we create more anxiety, more stress, more worry, more wishing, and we are losing our focus. And when we remind ourselves that actually, even if we sometimes feel that maybe the market is saturated with people doing the same thing as me, it's not true, because maybe the title is similar. Maybe if I'm a coach and I'm looking, yes, there's so many other coaches, sure, but there is not even one coach out there that has my experience, my knowledge, my tools, my way of explaining things, my, you know, everything that I've been through in life. And actually that was a really important thing for me, because when I finished my coaching course and I was out there, I found that I was nervous about putting myself out there, because I was a new coach. Why would someone come and pay me however much money I charge when I'm a new coach? And then I had to do this switch in my mind and say, actually, my certificate is new, but I am a coach based on all of my years of living, because everything I've been through, every experience, every heartache, every obstacle in my way has brought me to be the coach that I am. When my clients come and they talk to me about whatever, I have a lot of experience in my life. So very likely I can go back to my own experience and really have a understanding of what they're going through. So this was one shift that I needed to make in my mind when I was putting myself out there. But the other thing is also about, you know, I want to do my own marketing. I don't have the money to pay other people to do my marketing. I need to trust and you know, rely on myself. And then I found this really interesting thing is that when I say put something on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, whichever social media platform, it was like, you know, I put it there, and what will they say? What will happen if they, and I don't know who are they, but there is a fear of they, that they will look at it and say, oh, that's rubbish. You know, what she doesn't know what she's talking about. Or, you know, I would never say that. Or, you know, basically real fear of putting myself out there in case I would be criticized, or even worse, people might start giving me some really horrible comments. And it's really interesting, because if we play to this fear, then we find that we're really not making any step forward, because the fear of they is paralyzing. And so now it's the trick is to remind yourself, or remind ourselves, that we are unique. Even if there are 100,000 other, for example, coaches, I am a unique person in the way that I show up, the way that, like I said earlier, my experiences, my way of explaining things, my way of, you know, my choices of what to put out there. So it's really important not to compare ourselves to others, and also to not to allow this fear of criticism to make us not do what we want.
Yeah, I can relate so much to that, and I'm sure that everyone thinking of being in this situation have exactly the same fear of, yeah, comparing yourself. At the beginning when I started, I mean, I think it's great that you have an idea, a vision about kind of your end goal and who potentially you are putting as a person, like I would like to be as this person. You will never be, for the main reason, as you just said, you are unique. So you might be as successful as potentially this coach or I don't know, this yoga teacher or whatever, but you will never be, you will never have the same success because you are just totally different and different experience and background and stuff like that. But
yes,
for me, it's like, as we all do the same mistake. And again, when we start, is something that we really need to keep in mind, and maybe like having on the board and about, don't compare yourself to other. This is so key because it generates so much frustration, and when you're frustrated, you can't focus, and when you can't focus, you can't progress, and you can't progress, as fast as you could if you were more focused. So this is, it's really true. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and actually, what you said about focus brings me to my tip number 5. I like how this is going.
Freestyle.
But the next thing is really, it is about the focus and also about the trust. So, for example, yes, I have an idea, as you just said, I have a, I want to be like this big coach or that big coach or this big speaker, motivational speaker. But now it's about the journey. I can't be too fixed in my goal because that will start restricting me. So I need to focus on my next step. What do I want to be? Like I said, if I have a plan, where is my short-term goals, medium-term goals? And I need to focus on my next step. And yes, I know the general direction that I'm going towards, but I can't be too fixated on my what I want to happen, because that means that I put myself in control and I basically cancel the universe and the things that happens when we surrender and say, right, show me the way, tell me what to do, give me the opportunities, introduce me to the people that will help me to get to the next point in my life. And I think this is quite important, because also to go back to the idea of focus, if I am concentrated too much at my end goal, I will totally miss my journey. So I will not really learn from my mistakes. I will not learn from the people and the opportunity that comes my way, because I will say, right, this is what has to happen. But actually, I don't know if this is what has to happen. So when I say, right, this is the general direction I want to step in, and then I allow for things to come, and I trust that the right things, right opportunities, right people, right lessons will come my way, then I can actually relax and step into me, into my authentic self and what I have to bring to the world in whichever, if I'm a coach or a yoga teacher or whatever I am. So it's putting everything in focus. I'm not focusing at my end goal, what I want to be when I'm, 102. It's actually, what do I want for now? Okay, if I want to write a book, fine. Then I can start doing some research and stuff, or I can start finding opportunities to help me to decide what to write about, and maybe if I want to interview people and stuff like that. And maybe my first person that I'm going to interview is going to share something that is completely going to open up my mind to something completely different. And then I will, instead of going in that direction, I will decide to go in that direction. And that's okay. This is a welcome change, because when we are open to these opportunities, first of all, there is no anxiety. I'm not stressed about, am I going to do this or that? I just know the general direction, and I'm allowing things to to reveal themselves as they're meant to.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Be open to new opportunities and keep your eyes wide open. Not be just too focused on this end goal, but allow other people that maybe you were not thinking to work with or to partner with, or allow new project to come in. And even if it delay other project, is all part of the journey. And if this project comes in, then maybe it'll be new skill, new experience, new people, and maybe it might, instead of taking you this way, it might take you this way, but at the end take you to the end goal. And again, it's not a straight line anyway, so it's not like a motorway, and there is different road, and you need to take all of this road to reach your goal. So yeah,
Yes.
so true.
Yes. So this is really the bigger picture. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So do you have any other tips or anything else that you wish you knew at the beginning? Or
I think, yes, I suppose the other things that I found really helpful was to connect with anyone that I can, on LinkedIn, for example. I constantly have people reaching out. Obviously they're trying to to sell a lot of things, but if it's something interesting, I'm open to conversations. So I in a way, creating my new network of people that either if when I talk to them, either they can refer me to new clients, or maybe I can use their help or their way of methods of doing things that I can maybe use as well. So it's really, the network is important. I was listening to one webinar that they were saying, when you start and you have a distribution list, like, an email list that you want to send to potential clients and stuff, and at the beginning, obviously, you don't have anyone. And then remind yourself that, yes, you have all your friends, your family, people that if you ask, please, will you forward it to your friends? They will. And it takes time, but you just need to be not don't give up so quickly. This is maybe another tip that I should mention. Tip number 6. Did you say bonus tip?
yeah, I stopped counting. I don't know. I think we went above number 6, maybe 7 or 8. So it's only bonuses today. A lot of bonuses.
Bonuses is good. But the other thing is that how do you know when something that you're trying is working or not working? Because say and also, how do I define whether something has worked or not worked? I tried a few times. I said, okay, I'm going to create webinars and coaching groups. Actually, coaching groups is a good example, because I tried about 4 different times to create coaching groups, and each time not much happened with that. So do I see it as a failure, or do I start taking lessons from that and think, okay, I'm sure that this is a good idea. How can I make it work? So basically, what can I do differently next time when I try? But I didn't say, oh, it's a failure, it will never work, and just put it, in the back drawer. It's really about realizing that sometimes you will do something and something will happen straight away. So you will see the feedback that you expected straight away, and sometimes it won't. And then to realize that actually it doesn't mean that it's not a good thing to do. It just means that it wasn't right, ready, or in the right time, right audience at that time.
Yeah. What I was just thinking when you were saying that is also is you need to have kind of the right mindset, in a way that to leave a corporate job, corporate world, and starting as your solo entrepreneur, you need to just keep in mind that you are going to have a lot of challenges, but you can't just stop to the first one. And maybe I think that one of the first questions you need to ask yourself is, am I this type of person? As soon as that, there is a challenge in front of me, do I quit? It's true, because you're going to save yourself a lot of time and frustration, and because it's not for everyone. So also we need to be totally honest, it's just not for everyone. But for the one for sure who are successful is the people that take, I would say in bracket, failure, but you are talking this as feedback, as way of growing, as development. And this is amazing. What you were saying about having this 4 coaching group, I think it's amazing that no one turned up at the first one, or just a few people. And most of the time when people are saying that, oh, I've done my first event, it was 1 people or 2 people, or 5 people, but most of them it was my friend. And probably it's amazing that no one turned up, or it was just, your relative that turned up, because you were probably not ready anyway to do this in front of people maybe you didn't know, or in front of a big audience. So at least it was good that you did this once in front of feel like an audience, but it's people that you could trust, and even if you were not at your full potential, at least you will get feedback, and it will be really constructive feedback anyway. So again, this is I think we all also need to remember that most of the time, the first time, not a lot of people are going to show up, but it's probably better for us. So at least we can just practice and just get better when a lot of people show up.
But in response to what you said earlier about, are we the kind of person to quit or not? This is an important something to actually do. When I mentioned earlier about this, make a list of your, short, medium, and long-term goals. The other thing to do, which is super important, is to foresee what can happen, what can go wrong, and what will you do when that happens. Because when you plan ahead, when it happens, then it's no longer a new thing. So you don't have to think on your feet. You already say, yeah, okay, I already know what I can do now. And this is really important, because it takes away from that surprise moment. And so if I'm already feeling down, and now I'm considering whatever I do as a failure, I might want to quit. But if I had that in my plan, that, it will, if I have a month, say, that I made no money, what will I do? What else can I do? Who can I speak with, or what books I can read, or what new master classes I can go to, or who I can speak to, or whatever it is. If I have a plan for that, this is exactly, I can execute it in the right time. And yes, that's what I want to say about making a plan. And yes, and I think by that I lost my
Same for me, don't worry. Sometimes I was like, oh yeah, she said that, I'm going to say that, and after I was listening what you were saying, after, so I just lost my mind. But I think it's okay, because what would be great is if after whoever listens to this amazing interview and all of these ideas and tips you share with us, you can always carry on sending us questions, and we'll be more happy to do another video, another interview, and follow up with that. And also, if you're in this situation, just share your experience with us. It'll be brilliant, because I think sometimes, even for maybe Einav or myself, sometimes we know this, and it's always easy to talk about this, but it's so much harder when after we are in this situation, just to remind this ourselves. So listening to other people's experience is always help.
I remembered what I wanted to say.
Oh yeah, share with us then. Go ahead.
It's also good, actually, because as especially as entrepreneurs, we have what we think is our main money journey, right? So, for example, as a coach, I have one-on-one clients. As a yoga teacher, I have my lessons, all of that kind of stuff. But it's really, when you make that plan of what can go wrong, you might also want to plan what is your secondary passive income strings. So, like, I can do one-on-one coaching, and that's my main income. Maybe I can do an ebook and sell it, and that's my secondary, my passive income, because people can go on my website and just buy it there, and I don't need to go out and chase this money. The money is basically coming in for me. So when we think about, how are we doing? Are we successful in what we're doing? Was this, when we're trying to walk out where we are on our journey, it's also important to ask ourselves, what else can we do to help bring in more money than just our primary income string. That's what I mean.
This is so true. So I'm working on a post which is exactly on that, where about income stream. What will help you to support you in your journey, and what would be also kind of easy in a way maybe to do. If you want to know more about that, you will see soon a post on that. But thanks for that. So just before, I guess, we end this interview, so if someone wants to contact you, Einav, so what should they do? Do you have a website, or what is your website?
Yes. So I call myself Untangled Coaching.
Yeah.
I figured it would be easier for people than to remember my name. So untangledcoaching.com, and I'm on all major social media platforms. So if you search Untangled Coaching, different things will come up, and that's probably me.
Okay, perfect. So if anyone has a problem in terms of any life issue, maybe anxiety, or problem with maybe professional issue, I'm sure they can get in touch with you and ask you for some support, some coaching. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your time, and I'm sure we'll have some follow-up on some new topics or new tips, more bonuses in the coming weeks or months. Thanks a lot for your time, Einav.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Are you ready to turn your passion into a business? Is it finally time to make the difference you were born to make? Good, because we are here to help. Get started now at UniToShine.com.